what's been allowing you to keep a consistent growth mindset?
I focus on the people. I focus on the people we've helped who've had great experiences. Like even looking at our Google reviews, I'm like, wow, look at the life transforming experiences people have experienced. And we have folks, yeah, of course, who've left. We've also have the same, if not more, amount of people who've stayed and said, we're committed to this movement of flourishing because of their own transformation. And so I focus on that a lot. Every time I jump on a phone, a discovery call with someone, a strategy call, and they're sharing with me their struggles with work and personal. And I have a place for them where I'm like, wow, we can help you. Like, you don't have to do this alone. Mm-hmm. And to see that hope in their eyes, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. Hey friends, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of the Flourish podcast. It's so exciting to me today to have a very special guest, and actually just celebrated her 5th anniversary working we did together, and it's Cynthia Chau-Hoang. Welcome,
yes,
Cynthia.
Thank you, Abe.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Okay.
I'm great, yeah.
So 5 years working together. How's it been for you?
It's been quite a ride.
Okay.
It's been quite a ride.
Okay.
It's very exciting once joining the team. And then as we navigate change and grow and expand, it's always going to be a ride. And
yeah,
it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, it's a wonderful illustration, I think, us working together of the evolution, I think, of a growth mindset and the evolution and development of skills, eh? So tell us about that from your perspective. How's that been for you?
Yeah, it's been, I say it's fun because I always choose my words carefully. I could say it's horrible. I could say it's been tough. It's been challenging. It's been all those things. Yet part of change is actually choosing how I want to see something, how I want to experience something. And I came into this job, into this career, into this field with a certain set of skills and tools. However, then I learned, oh my goodness, there's more skills and tools that I need to put into my arsenal, I guess you could say, right? Mm-hmm. And along the way, I've been able to learn a lot more about myself, mm-hmm. not just from a professional perspective, also from a personal perspective.
Okay.
So it's a lot of personal professional work.
Huh. And would you care to tell us a couple examples of some of those areas?
Yeah, I'd say professionally to start with, I don't have all the letters behind my name. Like, you have an MBA, which is great, and I'm grateful for that because anytime I need to know about numbers and business and management, all that stuff, I can go to Abe. Yet then I come in and I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome because then I'm helping with operations, I'm helping with communications, and I know a lot of people go to school for that, and they pay a lot of money for that, and they spend a lot of time to build those tools and the how-tos, yet I didn't have that opportunity. And so for me, it's really tapping into networking, finding out who can help me, and also learning on my own, right? The web now is so huge, it's global, that I can actually type in and learn things and also upskill through different avenues as well. So professionally, it's really just figuring things out, right, and realizing that academics is great, yet also knowing that I have the capacity to learn new things. Yeah. Personally, it's realizing too that I have a lot of great things to share personally along the ride too, is figuring out, how I can function professionally at work, even though stuff was going on at home. Like recently I had a health scare and I was able to just say, hey, take the tools that I've learned from Flourishing and to create a wellness for myself, a wellness place so that I can actually function at work.
Yeah. No, and that's actually awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I think in a lot of ways it reminds us of the principle that, the magic is always going to happen outside of our comfort zone. And, each and every day, a growth mindset, it's an active choice that you have to make, right? And I think, just as your coworker, and I guess you could say boss over these years, I've really noticed that that's the consistent choice that you've made. And I celebrate you for that, to say, hey, I don't know how to do this, or maybe I am feeling a little bit of an imposter syndrome, or whatever, right? And those things are very normal. I think it's important we acknowledge that people have that. And yet a growth mindset is the fix, because we're not going to just, have a download of all the knowledge we need. Somebody's not just going to drop it in our brain out of the sky, but we always learn by doing. And so what have been some of the things that have helped you to maintain that growth mindset? Because there have been challenging times. There's been times when we've been under pressure. There's been times when new people have come or older people have left, and stress and strain, and what's been allowing you to keep a consistent growth mindset?
I focus on the people. I focus on the people we've helped who've had great experiences. Like even looking at our Google reviews, I'm like, wow, look at the life transforming experiences people have experienced. And we have folks, of course, who've left. We've also have the same, if not more, amount of people who've stayed and said, we're committed to this movement of flourishing because of their own transformation. And so I focus on that a lot. Every time I jump on a phone, a discovery call with someone, a strategy call, and they're sharing with me their struggles with work and personal, and I have a place for them where I'm like, wow, we can help you. Like, you don't have to do this alone. Mm-hmm. And to see that hope in their eyes, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, that's huge, right? And I mean, obviously, there's a lot of jobs out there where you can just produce things, and there's nothing wrong with that, where you can make things, where you can, operate on an assembly line. But there's not a lot of jobs where you're meaningfully able to make a difference for people every day. And I think in the end, that's what it's all about. So we here in Flourishing, you keep hearing this term, but we actually have a couple of websites where we do this work. And one of them is called CertifiedFlourishingCoach.com. And that's where we do a lot of our coach training and leader development. And then we have FlourishingWorkplace.com, where we actually work with organizations. And we use the term organizations because today, the nonprofit sector is huge, and we have dozens and dozens of nonprofits that we've worked with. For-profit obviously has always been huge. And we work with everything from Fortune 500 companies all the way to small and medium-sized businesses, even mom and pop shops, literally like startup restaurants, all the way to the government sector and First Nations, which in Canada are considered government as well. And so we only share that to say that Cynthia is very involved with a lot of that. And sometimes that's on the sort of onboarding and sales side, where maybe they're not really sure. Are you guys a fit? Can you help us? Do we even align? And then all the way in Cynthia's case to negotiating the contract, and often, even the delivery of the coaching and the training and the support. And so, we call this Flourishing Workplace because our goal is to help workplaces to absolutely thrive. We think that people, when they come into a work environment that's safe and that's supportive, they can do their best work. And when people are doing their best work, I'll tell you what, belonging brings better. And so they're going to do better in terms of productivity, in terms of performance, and then ultimately bringing a positive and profitable environment to that entity. And so, Cynthia, tell us about, some of the challenges you're seeing right now with organizations out there. What are you noticing?
People are tired.
Okay.
People are tired, right? Like,
take a nap right now.
I heard Abe talk about like hearing that a lot too. Is even in our young people, like in the workplace, with our devices nowadays, right? It's so easy to take the phone from our pockets. Let's say put it down, and then hear a notification, and then pick it up, and then there's that email that comes through from work, and then we feel like we need to answer it right away.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I find myself doing that sometimes too, because we're global and we're all in different time zones. Yet then it's taking that self-initiative to know when to put it down. Mm-hmm. And when I was on a call actually a few weeks ago with a nonprofit, that was what they were finding, is that even if their staff members were off their work time, they would still be on their devices. They don't know how to turn it off. They don't know how to self-soothe and care for themselves. So then burnout happens.
Yeah.
right? And so I think that's one of the biggest challenges is self-care within that workplace, such that they can function better.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, interesting because you're trying to balance, right, as organizational leaders, the conversation around, hey, let's do self-care and let's make sure that some of that happens on the job because, we have to try to create that environment. But also, hey, you also have a responsibility when you're off the job, to make sure that you're doing the nutrition and the exercise and getting the sleep that you need. Rather than trying to get it when you show up on the job, because some people actually today, not just today, for a long time, they live in chaos. And a lot of people find that the workplace is where they have the most amount of peace, as crazy as that sounds. But of course, if they haven't had an opportunity to do self-care, then they may not be able to perform at their best. And so those are real challenges, aren't they?
They are. Like, even with an organization that we worked with, actually quite a few already, have noticed that when we do the self-care part of our workshops, it's an epiphany for them. They're like, that was a 2x4. These are tools I'm going to take home and actually implement. And I think that's part of why I love what we do too, is because self-care, we hear a lot, self-care, we hear, it's not butterflies, it's not bubble baths, it's not a bottle of wine. Yet then what is it, right? And we talk about the sleep, we talk about the nutrition and the exercise.
Yeah.
Spending quality time with family, friends.
Absolutely. Maybe your dog.
My dog,
Or
Boomer.
your cat.
Boomer gets a shout out. Oh my gosh, I better talk about my kids too. And the kids, and his husband.
Absolutely. It's interesting because, and I think one of the things that makes us so unique is we teach those concepts in a very deliverable form. In other words, it'd be nice if you could go to the Himalayan mountains and spend a month with a monk in an ashram, but you can't really do that. Most of us can't. And so we kind of need budget conscious and time conscious ways of caring for ourselves so that we can perform at our best, and understanding this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. This is a long-term process. I want to be effective not just today, but a decade from now and 2 decades from now. And so what do those processes need to look like? So, within organizations, what do you, what has been the most fun for you in terms of some of the kinds of work that we do? What are you enjoying the most about that?
I love the experiential work.
Yeah.
Seeing people actually putting their mind into, okay, how can this material relate to their own personal life, right?
Yeah.
Like, how does this relate to me? How does this relate to my coworker? And to see them get into groups and actually work together is amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. I was thinking about that. We do work with a organization here. It just happens to be a nonprofit. And the other night they had an open house and so they invited us to go and just kind of hang out and see what that would look like, an open house where they describe a lot of the amazing work that they do. And I mean, it was just amazing to me, every single person, and they got about 100 people there, but they're coming up to me and just telling about the impact of the work that we've had. They're just buzzing with so much excitement. And, to me, it just speaks to the fact that, if you're a manager or you're a team lead or a director of HR, like whatever your job title is, ultimately, like your job is to care for people, but you have a whole bunch of other things you're supposed to do as well. You got to run the organization. You got to fill out your paperwork. You got to drive your sales. You got to hit your targets and your outcomes. And it's super nice to have a group like us come in who can really support you with the people component, right? It's not like, hey, hire us as the director of HR. Not at all. It's like, we want to come alongside your HR team and your people team and your culture team and your leadership team and find out what are the challenges, what are the pain points, how can we help you guys? And, you don't have to do it all on your own. I mean, that's the biggest realization. Your leadership role is demanding enough. You don't also have to take this on. And so I just want to encourage you to reach out. Cynthia, if somebody was to reach out, what from your end, and they said, hey, Cynthia, I'd love to just hop on a call for 15, 20 minutes. What happens in that kind of environment?
Well, it's open dialogue, really. I ask questions, very easy questions. Say, hey, what are some of the wins? What are some of the challenges? And how can we potentially help? And every organization, every company has a challenge of some sort. And sometimes a lot of leaders come to me and say that I'm actually not sure what the challenges are. And through just natural conversation, they're like, oh, well, I noticed so-and-so is coming into work a bit later, or I noticed this person's taking a lot of sick days. I said, okay, well, let's look at that area. And maybe that can give us some hints of why that might be. Because sometimes it's legitimate, someone's sick, not feeling well, except sometimes it could be maybe just something in the mind, right? A mental fitness, something that we can help tweak there.
Yeah, no. And so, I was thinking just as you were talking about just how many of these organizations, when I'm chatting with them after, we'll talk about the interest, the impact on their bottom line. And again, no matter whether you're in for-profit or government or nonprofit, we're all focused on the bottom line. And that can look like a profit number, but it can also look like sustainability. It can also look like hitting your targets. And, if you have healthy people, you've vastly increased the chances of hitting those targets, whatever they might be. And if you have unhealthy people, it's just not going to happen. And so many times we have been so blessed and privileged to be a part of the success of those teams. The other day, even at this open house that I was talking about, they just said, man, all the stuff that you guys helped us with, it has gone so well. And now we're on to the next thing. Can we bring you back to do this other project? And so we're working on that with them right now. And it's so exciting to know that it's not just that our team helps your team feel better and feel more supported and feel empowered. That's all good. But it's also that we're helping you move closer to your business objectives and your business target. And we really want to make sure that there's a return on investment for you. If you're spending money to bring us in to support you as an organization, you need to recoup that through the better returns from your people. And so, any final thoughts from you, Cynthia, for anyone who might be watching or listening here today, just on workplace culture, on leadership, anything around those lines?
Yeah, one last thought really is that the whole landscape has changed ever since the past 3-4 years when there was a bit of chaos, right?
Yeah.
And so absolutely, it's been a pleasure to be able to support leaders in this space. And so absolutely, book a call with me. It's nothing gruesome. It's nothing huge.
High pressure.
It's not high pressure, yet it's a casual conversation. And absolutely reach out to me, Cynthia at flourishingworkplace.com. And we'll just chat, and maybe whether your organization is already flourishing, maybe there's someone else that we can help.
So that's great. And thank you for that, Cynthia. So we're going to be posting in the link below, Cynthia at flourishingworkplace.com, and also a link where you can just click on the link and it will take you to a calendar and you can just book in a time. I can promise you one thing, there is no pressure. For us, it's really listening, just trying to understand what's going on. We're not going to offer a solution until we actually get the problem. And when we get the problem, then it's about sharing. Well, here's some options in terms of solutions. And one of the biggest reasons we have had such traction is because we always tailor, fit, and customize a solution to the specific needs of your team. And that can be schedule, that can be topic matter, that can be cost, that can be all of that. So please do reach out to Cynthia. You can always reach out to myself, so it's Cynthia at flourishingworkplace.com or Abe, A-B-E, at flourishingworkplace.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, and join us if you could for the next episode of the Flourish podcast. And thank you so much, Cynthia.
Thanks, Abe.
And we'll see you next time, everybody.